there is a consolidated content repository for you to write any kind of answer. That's the basic funda when we are preparing one-pager notes. Essentially, it won't be my suggestion that you bank on 10 months. Aram say if you focus on 1.5 years, that's more than enough. 20 days to complete all the micro themes. If you're assuming you have your notes ready, just to revise it and to revise it thoroughly, 20 days is enough. When we go for GS4, I have seen that many times, from my personal experience also and from the experience of my friends also, we usually have less content. It's a good thing. It will be somewhere around 177 microthemes. It's hardly 90 days. It's for the mains. For the prelims, 1 microtheme a day, 111 microthemes, roughly 100 days. My second stage preparation was mostly focusing on building my content, building my knowledge level, building my understanding.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily.
Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. With Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
This session will be very, very helpful for you, a lot of you, because see, Soumya directly, of course, will be able to interact with you. He'll be able to see the faces also, so it should be helpful. So as you can see, the topic that is to make notes, right? To make PYQ-based notes. This exam cannot be cracked without previous year questions. I mean, this is something which is non-negotiable if you're attempting UPSC in 2026, right? There are certain microthemes that you need to know. On the basis of those microthemes, you have to prepare your own set of notes. These things are non-negotiable if you are attempting exam from next year onwards, right? Because of the evolution this exam has seen over over a decade probably, right? I am honored and privileged to be joined by a very special ranker. He is Soumya Ranjan. He's from IIT Kanpur. He secured All India Rank 136. He's currently in the Indian Revenue Services. Soumya will be telling his own experience with respect to note making, how he got the rank. He's a great set of timeline for you to follow. And also, of course, this is a beautiful presentation that he'll also give his view upon. So thank you so much, Soumya, for taking out your time. Over to you. Please enlighten us.
Thank you so much, sir, for giving me a chance to interact with the aspirants here. So, and good evening. Welcome, everyone. As has been the topic of the deck, will start and will mostly be revolving around mains and also the preparation timeline and strategies that we should be focusing on. It will be mostly a session which is focused on making you aware of what lies ahead in the journey and essentially what kind of efforts that is expected and you will be facing in the times to come. So yeah, as you can see on the screen, you don't need 5 years. Essentially, like many of the people who have been interacting with me since the last few years, they have this question that we have started our college undergraduates. Do we need to start UPSC preparation if we are certain for it? Definitely, there can be individual opinions. My personal opinion is you don't need to panic about that. You just need, as you can see in the timeline here, 10 months is sufficient. But essentially, it won't be my suggestion that you bank on 10 months. Aram say if you focus on 1.5 years, that's more than enough. Like for me, I started my preparation in my fourth year. So fourth year, that too in the second semester. That's the 8th semester starting. I started my preparation and I gave my first attempt just after the college ended. And I was able to go through till interview. So it's essentially a process which will require some time, but in the pursuit, I won't suggest anyone to sacrifice their undergrads. But the important point here is the bare minimum that we can roughly make a mathematical calculation is 10 months. Why 10 months? It's roughly 280 days. And as you can see, it's 288 microthemes. And what's microtheme will dwell in the next slide. As you can see, there are like two sets of calculations that has been done here. First is 371 microthemes. Second is 288 microthemes. So for 371 microthemes, it's like basically, what are microthemes? Let me handle that first. Microthemes are the minute topics. Like broadly, we know that there's polity. If we go to a more granular level, we look at the syllabus. We see different themes, different points that is there in the syllabus. But that can be classified as themes that are part of, let's say, polity, let's say history, let's say economy, let's say geography, any of the subjects. In those themes, what we need to focus on is the microthemes. Microthemes can be classified as the individual topics. So we'll dwell more on it in the further slides, but here, if we see the calculation, it's like 288 microthemes are the microthemes where there has been occurrence of more than two or more than two number of questions in the PYQs. So here you can see that there's roughly 140 mains microthemes and 111 prelims microthemes. But if we see on a bird's eye view, many of the microthemes also have somewhat overlaps and some kind of same underlying principles. So it is not that difficult as it looks. That's the crux. So we'll go to the next slide. So as we were talking, once we go inside the syllabus headings into the subjects, there are multiple subjects, and as you can see, let's say for polity, there are 45 microthemes. In mains, there are like 106, prelims 295 question, but and current affairs there is around 52. So mostly the microthemes that has been identified is around 45. Again, as we said, that this 288 microthemes that looks daunting is not actually so. It's because many of the microthemes, first, they have a similar underlying principle. Like if you understand fundamental rights, if you understand DPSP, if you understand basics of the subject, then many of the microthemes will lie on the similar principles. We'll look at how. In this slide, you can see there has been certain microthemes that has been enumerated. For example, federalism. For example, constitutional comparison. Now, if I just pick these two microthemes, if you understand federalism in constitutional comparison, many of the points, many of the arguments that compares two different constitutions of two different countries will be there, will be having a feature of federalism in it. Similarly, if you go to non-constitutional statutory bodies and constitutional statutory bodies, so the form of their appointment, the intent of their formation, the way the bodies are formed, and the composition of the bodies, those are mostly on the similar principles. So these microthemes, when identified separately, helps us prepare our notes easily, helps us handle the questions in the exam easily. But while preparing, it's not necessarily very daunting that we have 288 microthemes to handle, as you can see here. And even on numerical level, trust me, we have multiple microthemes, and on a numerical level also, 45 microthemes is, trust me, it's not a big deal. You can easily ace it. We'll see how in the further slides. Yeah, the thing that I was telling, basically, आप देख सकते हैं, it's 20 days. 20 days to complete all the micro themes. If you're like assuming you have your notes ready, just to revise it and to revise it thoroughly, 20 days is enough. But trust me, when I was going through my preparation, I didn't allow me 20 days time. You can think these 20 days as a time to bank on. Definitely, for me, if I would have been in this place, for me the target would be 5 days. Definitely it's difficult to adhere to that 5 days, but slowly but surely, if not for 5 days, I'll complete it in 10 days or maybe 15 days. So I said these lines because I want all of you who are eyeing for the examination to have an aggressive mindset towards the preparation. If you're preparing for like polity, try to finish it as soon as possible and try to go through the points in depth also. For going through the points in depth, these micro themes will help, and for the aggressiveness, your timeline will help. So please balance both of them. So next slide.
And I'll share these micro themes at the end, so don't worry. Please focus on the session.
Now again the same thing, just to make it more realistic, 2 microthemes a day, and it will be somewhere around 177 microthemes. It's hardly 90 days. It's for the mains. For the prelims, 1 microtheme a day, 111 microthemes, roughly 100 days. So it's more than enough. If you see on a mathematical scale, it's more than enough. More than enough time is already available for you. So what you need to do, again, I'll emphasize on that again, is that set an aggressive target for yourself. If you fail on the aggressive target, just remember that you shouldn't fall back beyond these targets. So these will mostly help you to channelize, to make a schedule for yourself. And every time we hear that there's a micro schedule for the weeks plan, days plan, months plan, and the whole UPSC preparation journey plan, this can be your schedule for your preparation journey plan, which will help you further make your days plan, weeks plan, and months plan. Okay, coming to the next point. If you have done some mathematics there already, as I had put as it was there in the previous slide, your mains preparation will be done by January. Now it's a preparation which will prepare your foundation. Your answers may not be the top notch. Your notes, one pager notes, may not be ready. You may not be writing great answers, but on the core level, on the understanding level, you are ready to write, you are ready to respond, you are ready to create arguments for any questions that is put up to you. That's what it's written here. The content deficit is solved.
Correct.
And then once the content deficit is solved, the next task you have is answer writing. And mind it is for the mains only. Like when I say answer writing, it's a major chunk of mains preparation. Content and answer writing go hand in hand. So next slide. But this taking reference from my own preparation journey, my second stage preparation, as it was there in the previous slide, that is timeline by January, my second stage preparation was mostly focusing on building my content, building my knowledge level, building my understanding. And then due to paucity of time, I switched to prelims. I focused prelims. For prelims, trust me, if you are ready with your mains foundation, you saw in second stage we wrote about mains, everything, no? But that understanding helps you in prelims also. So in third stage, assuming your foundation is ready, assuming you're ready with the understanding of each of the syllabus topics, you can focus on prelims directly. While focusing on prelims directly, 3 months is sufficient. In 3 months, you can be as rigorous as permissible to you. Like many people would be going to jobs, handling preparation parallelly with jobs. That's also fine. Many people won't be having jobs. But whatever your situation is, you can try to be as aggressive as you can towards MCQs. And digressing a bit from the slide here, when we talk about prelims, it's mostly two things. One is your content preparation, like are you factually sound? Second is your ability to gauge the answers, gauge the question, and understand the essence of the question, basically. So in prelims, understanding the essence comes solely by practicing MCQs. The content part is develops gradually, but understanding the essence of the question, and the MCQ handling, that will solely come from solving MCQs. So I'll say, you don't think that you'll be able to you'll be going to prelims without practicing test papers, or maybe practicing 4 or 5 test papers. As you can see here, logical problem solving, attempting 5,000 questions. For me, I solved around 8,000 questions. 8,000 questions were around 6,000 questions were from test. Around 60 tests I wrote. Every alternate day, I'll just sit down and write a test. I'll put my answers, check the answers, go for the solution, and check where am I wrong, why am I wrong. Here, I focused on both the things. Whenever I got a wrong answer, I tried to append my content, that is my notes. And also whenever I'm wrong, I tried to see, have I had that knowledge of that question, the factual knowledge, would it still be solvable for me? That's a question that I ask myself. Second, I also think that even if I don't have the knowledge of the question, how will I be able to answer the question just by reading the question, just by trying to infer some of the logic, some of the peripheral knowledge that I have regarding that topic. So these things will come by practice. So next slide. So yeah, 280 days. Definitely you'll have a solid attempt. Just try to give your best. And till this slide, you would have mostly seen it's all maths. That's the first section of this whole preparation journey. You'll have to be ready with your maths regarding how much time you have to devote to what thing and how to handle each of the things.
You have to be ready till January for your mains. That's the first thing. You have to identify the micro themes. You have to understand this. These are the PYQs. These are the micro themes. You have to start with answer writing, and you have to be mains ready by January. Right. So far, this was the first part of the session. Let's take few questions on the first part of session. Then we jump to one-pager notes and making things. Let me find good questions. One-pager notes will tell you. Microthemes PDF I'll give you, so you don't need to identify this. We will give you the PDF. Sir, how does answer writing evolve? Okay, yeah, you can answer this, Soumya. How does answer writing evolve? Does it involve brainstorming or answer writing heavily?
Evolve, I assume the question is regarding the preparation of answer writing, like
Correct.
how your own answer writing will develop.
Correct.
Definitely the part that is important for answer writing is brainstorming. That's no question about it. It's mostly famous that you write more answers, you'll get the answers done, but whatever the content that you develop is through brainstorming only, and that will help you recall the content well. But yeah, saying so, writing the answer helps you helps you get into the flow of putting that brainstorming into that limited frame of time and writing it on the paper. So both the things are important. So if I talk of how to evolve, I'll just recount my own personal experience. I had less time in my preparation. So what I did was I used to take pen and paper. I'll just take a question. I'll have a sample answers. Maybe I'll just pick some topper's answer copy. I'll pick the question from there. I'll have the answer. What I'll do is I'll brainstorm and write. I need not write the whole sentence of each and every point. I'll just write one bullet point, what comes into my mind, and I'll write that bullet point. This way, I'll have like 7-8 bullet points for a 10-marker question. I'm happy that, okay, I have done the answer. And I'll see that, okay, this brainstorming part, for a 10-marker, I get some 6 to 7 minutes. So this brainstorming part, I'm able to do in 1.5 minutes. And then I'll just match it up with the topper's answer copy or some of my notes that I have. I'll try to add points from my answers. Try to add points from topper's answers. So this brainstorming activity made me aware of how I can recollect points from my notes and also how to frame good answers, good structure, and good presentation for the questions. But when it comes to answer writing, eventually I had to write lot many tests where I'm writing the whole answers also. So that will help me compile these 1.5 minutes of brainstorming into answers. Because in the exam, you'll not get lot of time to brainstorm, sit there, think. You'll not get that time. Like my strategy, if I say so bluntly, it will be when I'm reading the question, I'm highlighting the important core elements of the question. When I'm reading the question, I already have my introduction set in mind. So I'll just write the introduction. While I'm writing the introduction, I'll have a structure that is forming in my brain for the body. And I start with this flow will help you minimize lot of time being invested in brainstorming. You can maybe invest some 30 seconds for initial brainstorming, but these kind of practice will help you avoid that. But further, more about it, we'll also discuss in the note making thing.
Yes. So all the questions on one-pager notes, we are yet to discuss one-pager notes. So hold yourself. And with respect to the PDF, I'll give this PDF to you at the end of the session, so don't worry about that. Answer writing he has sufficiently answered. So let's move to the next segment, which is how to make one-pager notes. So the idea is to recognize micro themes, and on the basis of this micro theme, you make your own notes, right? Notes doesn't have to be one pager initially. It can be multiple pages. But by the time your prelims and mains period come in those 80-90 days, the ideal aim is that you should have your 1 or 2 pager notes so that you can quickly revise. Okay. And of course, you can't replicate a topper's notes. You have to make your own notes. Soumya, I think you can start from one pager notes.
Yeah. So basically, taking cue from what sir just said now, I'll just ask a blunt question to all of you. You need not answer me, just answer it for yourself. While going for examination, if you want to revise polity, do you want to go through your book of 200 pages for revision, or you want to see just 2 pages or maybe 10 pages and get done with it? Definitely on both psychological basis, that's my answer. On both psychological basis, you'll be less feared if you have 10 pages of polity notes, and also on a practical basis, if you have 10 pages, you can just read it in 20-25 minutes and recall every important elements that is there. Now please keep this in mind, this last line that I said. If you have 10 pages, you can just recall the important points, or maybe the points that you usually forget, and use it in your answers. I'm asking you to remember this point, because we will use this basic philosophy for making our one pager notes. Yeah, the final product seems easier than it actually is. As I said, 200 pages versus 10 pages. Now, understanding the evolution. Okay, this is what we were discussing in the answer writing thing also. It's like, how do we evolve with the answer writing? Here it is showing how do we evolve with the revision. Like, it's daunting to see a thick book of Lakshmikant and trying to finish it off. But if you just see this slide that is visible, there are many headings, there are many subheadings. But let me pick one thing, let's say preamble of the Constitution. And what's there inside it? Text of the preamble, ingredient of the preamble, keyword of the preamble, significance of the preamble. Trust me, if UPSC wants to ask you a question, they can pick any of the sub themes and make a complicated question. But you should have that confidence that if I ask a question regarding what is the significance of preamble, or maybe what is the describe the amendability of the preamble, you should know that all it is asking is about the preamble and the several important provisions. And it's not much, it's quite very less provisions that is there in the preamble that will be required to answer your question. The question may be fancy, the question may look complicated, but the underlying crux of it is simple. So when we go to the next slides, you will realize, we'll come back to this slide. So we'll just go to the third. Yes,
we should. This one, right?
Yes, sir. So I was talking about the preamble of the Constitution. In this slide, it's about the fundamental rights, fundamental duties. You can see, if you just focus on these major headings, you are good to go with your micro themes. Like, if I pick fundamental rights, howsoever complicated the question is, I can handle if I understand what is fundamental rights is, what are the fundamental rights, how these fundamental rights have evolved, and what is its dynamics with the current polity and current legal system. If we understand these broad things, we will be able to answer any question that is there from the subheading, or maybe from beneath the book, or even beyond the book from the recent politics. Now, coming back to that slide, we'll just see how do we go about this book. When we read this book, we need not panic about seeing the pages, seeing the total headings there. Just in the first reading, go through the important headings that are there, like the historical background, maybe like the making of the Constitution, historical background. I assume that the crowd has already seen the PYQs and has some basic idea. If not, please do it just after this session. If not more, just go through the last year's question paper, and you'll get an idea that even from a topic like historical background, which someone may ignore in the book, in the thick book, there can be questions regarding how the each and every act has played a role in shaping the final constitution. So these broad topics can be your first revision point to make you aware of the whole political paradigm, whole polity. Thereon, in from the second revision onwards, you can, of course, in the first glance, you're just first reading, you're going through all the broad topics, but from the second reading onwards, you try to pick the important points, important themes that are there from the content. Now, while I was making notes, now this is not the one pager notes. I am talking about the initial notes that I was making. What I used to follow is, I have a book with me to follow each and every minute details that is there. So I need not panic about each and every minute details. So what I will do is, if I pick a topic like historical background, I will pick those points which are maybe new to me, which are maybe not very intuitive for me, or which I think is which is certain to be asked whenever someone asks me regarding historical background. These three things, either new to me, unintuitive, or I am certain of it being asked whenever someone asks me regarding this topic. These three principles guide me when I make any notes. We'll go ahead. Yeah. Just reference of what we were discussing since this last 5-10 minutes. If we see this fundamental rights page, there are 33 pages. Do we need to practice 33 pages? Of course not. What we will pick is what is important, what is important and I don't remember. Second, what is unintuitive and again I don't remember. Third, what all are the things which are certain to be there whenever someone asks about fundamental rights. So those things will eventually help me shape the one pager notes. Going ahead, we'll discuss on how to make the one pager notes.
Absolutely.
So
And this is the last segment of the session. Okay. Yeah.
So first we'll go for some underlying principles, like digressing from the original topic. We'll just get the underlying principles and then we'll get back to how to make the actual one pager notes. First, understand the syllabus. You have the syllabus, read it once, twice, thrice, get through it and just realize what is there to be asked in the question. In exam, believe me, there can be some points where you'll feel that, okay, this is just written in the syllabus points. It is not that essential. In exam, you'll be surprised to see a very nuanced question from that single word. So don't ignore any word in the syllabus. Break by subjects. Like, essentially, like GS1 has multiple subjects, GS2 has multiple, 3 has multiple subjects. So just break subject wise so that it will be helpful for you to cater. Start with PYQs. I'll say that's a mistake on our part. Just put this on the first point. PYQs are your go through. Syllabus and PYQ, definitely. That both of this. Just after this talk, see the last year PYQ. And when you are doing the revision, also have PYQs with you and go through it. It will help you in revising also. It will help you in one pager notes also. And yeah, as we were discussing, syllabus and PYQ mapping. You map from which part of the syllabus, from which word of the syllabus more precisely, which question has been asked. And this will help you create microthemes, which is also done by Sir has also.
Yeah, correct. So we have done this for you already. If you don't get the PDF by any chance, if you want to do it on your own also, this is the method. Otherwise, start with the PDF, anything that sails your boat. Correct. Now, how to, I think, build notes.
Now coming to the main thing that we are awaiting. That's the building topic frameworks. Why is this required? This is required for making one pager notes. One pager notes, as we have already seen, we can't fill all the things that is there in the world. I said 3 points. I'll recall you again. First, the things that I don't know. Second, the unintuitive things. Third, things that are certain to be there in the answer. Things I don't know, I'll get to know while I am doing revision. or I'll get to know while I'm solving questions. So that will be done as and when I'm practicing. So as and when I'm practicing, as and when I'm getting new information, I'll just add it up to my notes. So first point done. Second point is the unintuitive things. Unintuitive things which I feel are relevant to my preparation and the question paper. So these things again, while revision, will come across many points which we can keep a repository and ultimately add it to our notes. But the third and the biggest elephant in our room is the things that are certain to be there in the answer, or at least in the topic. So for that major segment, I can say that this third point fills up around 80% of your one page notes. So how to make these certain things in a concise manner? This is why we make frameworks. This also helps you in recalling the points while you are going for the examination. For example, let's say women issues. So what are there? If you write an answer, uh, again I'll digress a bit. I'll just give an analogy. Think of answer writing as a like cooking. Like you cook a dish, right? You have some ingredient at your inventory, in your fridge, maybe in your mm, cupboards, maybe you have some inventory at your disposal. And when you make a dish, you just pick and choose whatever is relevant for your dish and try to make a dish. Similarly, your one page note should act like your fridge and uh, cupboards, maybe, where you are storing all the inventory items. And it should be so concise and so ready to use that whenever you are cooking, without wasting much time, you can fetch easily what all ingredients you want. So for that, let's say for women issues, you need recent events. Why recent events are required? It can be an addendum to your individual arguments, or it can act easily, it can cater to one of your introductions. So that's how, like, a major chunk of your answer, an introduction, will be catered. So recent event is important. Relevant data will help you in every argument. Almost every argument you can put data and it will enrich your answer. Key challenges, best practices, way forward, conclusion quote. Again, quotes can be introduction also, can be a conclusion also. So these five things that can be that can be a tentative pointers for your notes on, let's say, women issues. Now, considering this, we should also understand that our content should be concise and should be limited to one page. Like one, when I say one pager, it's not essentially one page, it's like few pages, but it should be very concise. And when you elaborate these answers will be of some 200 to 250 words. So in exam, you should understand that your word limit should be adhered, your time limit should be adhered. So all these things, but we'll not dwell more into this, how the answer writing part. We'll simply go to the one pager note making. Yeah. I think irrespective of GS1, GS2, GS3, GS4, there is some underlying principles that are same in all four. For that, we'll just refer to this one. Is it visible, sir, or we need to zoom it?
It is actually, let me zoom it a bit. I think it's better now. Or should I zoom it more?
Yes, sir. I think it's good enough.
It's good enough, right? Okay.
Yes. So let's say just we'll go through this slides of poverty. We'll not go through each and every topic of GS1, GS2, GS3. GS4 we'll see, but let's just focus on poverty. So if I need a note, I have written definition, I've written data, I've written a quote, I've written multiple forms of poverty, I've written reasons of poverty, broad arguments, I've written types, government measures, committee, capability, population poverty, correlation, COVID-19 impact, challenges. I just enumerated all the highlights. So just do a simple exercise for 1 minute, each one of you. Try to imagine a question which you won't be able to answer with these content. just do an exercise and you'll realize that all the essential ingredients you need let's say you need a good introduction, you need a quote, or maybe you need a recent report COVID-19 impact, you can cite some reports. You need a quote, maybe if you have if you have any quote ready, like in the green box at the end, you can write it there. Or maybe you can cite Amartya Sen saying something, or maybe you can write a quote as it is there in the beginning, or maybe a definition. All these are various kinds of introduction that you can write from if any question comes from poverty. Then next is if a factual question comes regarding what are the multiple forms, then there is a cater. This factual question has been catered. If you need to write an analytical question, like the reasons, challenges, way ahead, all these arguments are developed in this small set of paper. So in 2 pages, there is a consolidated content repository for you to write any kind of answer. That's the basic funda when we are preparing 1-pager notes. And now let me tell you, every year a question from poverty is certain to come, almost every year. So if you are just reading these 2 pages, it's like done for you. Now, as I said this, I should cater to the most important thing. Many people has this belief that these 2 pages are enough, so give us these 2 pages, we'll just read it and get done with it. So I would request avoid this kind of practices. The moment you start writing your own 1-pager notes, you'll start ingraining the habit or the skill of concisely putting your argument in place. This will help you in examination. Question will not come like directly as in what is poverty or directly what is there in the moment you start reading this, cramming up this much and trying to go for exam, if you face any unintuitive or nuanced question, you will face difficulties. But if you have done an exercise yourself of preparing this 1-pager notes, the moment you go to the exam, a nuanced question comes, more often than not, you will be able to put your understanding into it. And of course, cramming up your own 1-pager notes, you'll be able to put all the important data, all the important ingredients that is required for the recipe. So that is the main fundamental that is followed in both GS1, GS2, GS3. We can easily skip GS2, GS3 for this also.
We can
Or-
go to GS4, or you want to discuss on
Yes. So mostly GS2, GS3 are similar only. GS3 we have more data, more diagrams that is relevant for the examination. GS2 we have more data, committees, reports that are relevant. But underlying principle is same for GS1, 2, 3. But GS4 I would like to.
GS4 you want to discuss, right?
Yes.
Okay.
When we go for GS4, I have seen that many times, like it's from my personal experience also and from the experience of my friends also, we usually have less content. It's a good thing that, okay, for GS1 to 3, we have to read, let's say, 500 pages of books and all. But GS4, it's just maybe a 100-page book or maybe a 10 days workshop. Whatever the preparation strategy is, mostly it's like we have less content to study, so it's easy. But let me tell you, at least in the last 4-5 years, from the questions that I have seen, it's not going to happen. So the less content you study, the less ideas that you will have, and with the less ideas that you have, mostly your answers will be mundane and repetitive. Questions will be nuanced, they'll be different in a very nuanced manner, but you will not have enough content or enough variation in content to cater to all these different types of questions. But saying so, I am not encouraging anyone to read a lot volumes of books for GS4. I'm just saying, put your, for every micro themes in other topics, you need to get to understand the topics. But here in GS4, for every micro theme, do more brainstorming. try to understand each and every microtheme at a deeper level. And when you understand microthemes, try to think like what can be the argument aligning with the topic, what can be the argument which can counter to the topic yet be ethical. All those dimensions, try to make it in there in your own head. Give some time for brainstorming. Now coming to one pager notes, these keywords will help you a lot in ethics examination, both keywords and diagram formats. These things will help you a lot. In keywords, you have, sir, in the previous slide, just in keywords, you can see there has been like good use of various word dentology, golden mean theory, madhyam mark. These can fit in almost in every answer, and it will make your answer look good and enriched. Of course, the use has to be at appropriate place. You shouldn't use dentology in a place where teleology is being inferred. Now, we'll not dwell much here. It's mostly about the keywords that you should have a collection of to make your answer ornamental. But more important is the dimensions that you have in ethics. The different dimensions that I was telling you when I was saying ki whenever you get a micro theme, think of different dimensions, think of different line of arguments. Now, coming to the next slide, we can see another great area to make a one-pager notes for ethics are the dilemmas. Again, this is something which can be used. This is something which can be used in almost each and every answers that is relevant for the specific topics. Let's say sustainability versus righteousness, means versus ends. All these dimensions, arguments, quotes, these can be used in various answers. And in ethics, one thing you'll see is the reusability of topics, reusability of arguments will help you make your one-pager notes. Now, coming to conclusion, it's advisable you have a good set of conclusions with you so that you can use it as and when necessary, and you don't have to invest a lot of time in making conclusions. Of course, when you get these slides, you can read these. Yeah, mostly this is all the experiences that I wanted to share regarding my preparation for making one-pager notes. But yeah, in GS 123, as I said, I'll re-emphasize on that. GS 123, identify your micro themes properly. Identify what all important things are there. 3 things: what is not known to you, what is unintuitive, and third, what is certain to be there when someone asks you regarding that topic. This is very important for GS 123. For GS 4, go for these 3 principles, but along with it, try to understand what things can be reused in multiple areas, multiple themes. Add those into your answer, those into your one-pager themes also. For example, a quote relevant for any question, for a broad spectrum of questions, you can have it at your disposal, and you can also have some context-specific quotes also. So if you don't get something, if you don't remember something very relevant to that context, you always have a fallback option to write something which you have prepared to have a wider versatility. So yeah, with that, I'll end my
Session. Thank you so much, Soumya.